All right, let's move on to the next group here. Group E. Boy, what a fun group this was. Oh man. Um, we'll dive into the talks, a little bit more detailed talks about it in a minute. But Japan topped the group on 6 points, followed by Spain in second with 4 points, Germany in third with 4 points, but five less in goal difference, and then Costa Rica in fourth with 3 points. Let's talk about for a brief moment how Japan and Costa Rica were the two teams going through.
The greatest 85 seconds in sports.
Yes, that would have been an incredible, unexpected twist to this tale. But I wanna start off by giving absolute credit to Costa Rica here. We talked about this in the first episode that we did about how awful Costa Rica was. Why are they here? Feels like a waste of time, kind of thing. And they were just so much better after the first game. Like they were just competitive. They were in games. They were making things hard. Yes, they still conceded another four to Germany, which was not great, but they were competitive for 70 minutes of that game. They were in it. They had the lead at some point late in the game. They won against Japan, the team that topped the group. None of it was super convincing, but I feel like after that Spain game, I just expected them to get walked over by every team.
Yeah. I like the way that you put it that they made it difficult, right? Japan flopped against Costa Rica. I don't know what happened. They should have walked them. But you're right against Germany outside of that last 10 minutes or so. Um, they made it difficult. They made it hard. The beginning of that game, Germany should have been up 4-0 to start, and Keylor Navas did, kept them in the game. They go in and they take the lead and they realize what they just did, and it's like, okay, now we have to focus on being uh defensive to try and stop these guys. And Germany said no, no freaking way, and they just fell apart. I still don't think Costa Rica had the quality to be here. I would have rather seen Algeria or Nigeria.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't give them a ton of credit. I mean, the Japan game should have been 0-0. That was a terrible error by the goalkeeper trying to keep that Fuller shot out. But yeah, they made things difficult for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, it was not pretty, but yeah, they fought. I feel like I mean, I'm looking at the XG for them and the XG against. Yes, Japan technically they should have lost. It was 0.14 against 0.9 against. And Germany they got absolutely lit up. It was like 5.7 XG against and 1.3 XG for. So that to me is just saying that I think they're playing well. Either they were getting super lucky, which I'm sure was some of it, but they were just playing a lot better than they should have been playing, which to me was saying that, they're despite the fact that they just got lit up like a Christmas tree in the first game, they were still out there playing hard. And I liked it because they were making it tough.
Very topical. Lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yes, it was
Very
in the
nice.
spirit of December. So yeah, let's move on to Japan, obviously. Got unfortunately heartbreakingly knocked out today in penalties. As much as I wanted them to move on, I did have Croatia moving on, so I'm glad that Croatia pulled out the penalties. But it was still really heartbreaking to see them get knocked out there. I think they had such a good World Cup, and it was really tough to see them get knocked out. I don't know if I would have seen them being able to seriously be a threat for like the semifinals, finals, and actually like have a shot to win it all. But this was a team that I think could have at least made some noise in the quarterfinals. Um, so I'll ask you, what was their key to success?
Being a team. We talked about when we were doing the Group E preview. You asked me make the case for Japan at 2. You remember that?
I do. Yeah.
Do you? It's on TikTok. If you don't, you should go check it out. Everybody should go check it out.
Yeah.
You asked me to make the case, and I said this. They took a team of Brazilians who at the time played their entire starting 11 and were favorites to beat the entire world by 1 billion goals to 0. And they held them to 1. And that right there is unbelievable. They smacked around the US 2-0, tied a very good Ecuador side, beat South Korea 3-0. I mean, it was quite clear that this team, while they didn't have the big names and the big stars, knew exactly who they were, knew exactly what their game plan was, and performed it brilliantly. Knocking off Germany and Spain. Unlucky against Costa Rica. Extremely unlucky against Costa Rica. They should have beat Costa Rica. Croatia. But the fact that you took two of the top 10 teams in the world, beat them 2-1, coming from behind, is a massive credit to understanding who you are as a team, understanding your identity, and understanding that when it all comes down to it, nothing's over till that final whistle blows. And you keep fighting, and you keep pressing, and you keep playing, and you keep defending until the referee says the game's over. Brilliant performances by them. They should have beaten Croatia in normal time. Extra time was kind of boring. Penalties were poor. I mean, that's what happens when you have people playing the Premier League. Small leagues like that don't know how to take penalties. Three players missed for Japan. All three of them had ties to the Premier League. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying MLS is clear.
It's a weird correlation. I don't know.
Listen, I'm not trying to be that guy, but it's quite clear that MLS miles. I mean, here, let me put it for our Eurosnap viewers. Kilometers clear. Kilometers clear of the Premier League.
Nice, that's good. Yeah, the most, I think you're spot on Japan there. And the wild thing to me is just the fact that when I think of other teams that I'm like, yeah, these guys play like a team. Like it's not just a group of guys that are super talented that just happen to all be playing on the field at the same time. I think of teams like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, who play with each other week in, week out, or play against each other. They know each other and their gameplay really well. And while they don't necessarily have the talent, the reason that they're on this stage is because they play so well as a team together. The surprising thing for me for Japan, and we did this when we did our deep dive into the team, these guys aren't, it's not like they're all coming from like the Japanese league. They're playing all over Europe in different places. I would love to see the US kind of adopt a style like that, where you can get that chemistry and teamwork level despite the fact that you're playing in different places in Europe. So I think that's such a strong quality for this team. And I think 2026, again, they're going to be a competitive team and a threat to cause some upsets like they did this year.
100%. Couldn't agree more.